Hey folks, so I'm going to show you how to take your 8-gram First Strike compact magazine and turn it into a 12-gram capable magazine with actually room for one more round as well. So these are 3D printed magazines that I sell in my store. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the components from inside this one and transplant them into this. So what you'll need for this is your 2 Allen keys that come with your marker. You'll need a donor magazine, and you'll need the 3D printed shell. So first thing we need to do is we need to take this magazine apart. It's quite straightforward to do. The first thing you want to do is remove this slide plate at the bottom. It can be a bit of a pain to do because it can be quite stiff. What I found is putting an Allen key in there and pushing it fairly hard can do the trick. So let's try that now. There we go. Just make sure that when you do remove it, the spring doesn't fly out. So put your fingers in front of it and remove the spring. And the next thing to come out is the slide, or whatever it's called, the round slider. This, place that there. And now we need to basically take this in half. So you'll need the smaller of the Allen keys to undo the bolts, which should be on the right hand side. So unscrew those. Make sure you keep all of these bolts safe and don't do what I just did and lose the nut, which I'll go and pick up in a moment. Some of these bolts can be a little bit tight, so just place your hand on the underside to catch the nuts that fly out. There's one. There we go. We've got another one up in near the neck, near the valve. Catch that nut because this one's a pretty short one. And there's a slightly different sized bolt right on the top. You'll need the slightly bigger Allen key for that. So again, catch the nut. It's a very small one. That's what she said. And okay, that's that disassembled. I'm just gonna go and grab that nut that bounced away. Okay, so we should have 3 larger nuts, 1 small nut, and you can now also remove the screw at the bottom. And the next thing, the next thing to look out for is the bolts flying out. There we go, we can push that one out. So now this is ready to come apart. You've got the round retaining pin at the top. This is secured by 2 plastic bits either side. These can be fairly tight, so you might need some sort of needle nose to pull them off. Don't lose them. You'll need these. They are pretty fragile, so treat them with care. I will be shipping 3D printed replacement ends for these because I've broken a few myself by accident, so you know, accidents happen. So that what you need to do is you need to you can either remove them now, or you can sort of prise them. Oops, you can sort of prise them apart when you remove the clamshell. So I'm just going to pick up that nut. So this is the nut that goes in the bottom that I dropped on the floor. So if you want to do it this way, just make sure you got your fingers on there, yeah, on the end to catch these, and then just pull the thing apart like that. And the little plastic bits that come on the end. Just pull them off both sides. They can be, like I say, they can be pretty tight. And if they're really stubborn, just pull the pin through the spring instead, like so, on this left on the end, and we'll just rethread it through there. It can be less painful doing it that way. Okay, so here's the old magazine shell. Keep it safe, you might need it in the future, but we don't need it now. So on comes the new magazine shell. It's very, very similar, slightly longer, bigger channel for a bigger CO2 cartridge. I do provide a spacer with these kits as well. This is what a spacer looks like. And what this means is you can run 8 gram or 12 gram. So you just plop in the spacer like so and put in the 8 gram as you normally would. Okay, so next thing now is we need to assemble this. So the first things we need to look at is the valves. So this valve goes in the neck. It's fairly loose fitting, but that will tighten up as we tighten up the screws. Then you need the bolt, the nut for the bottom, which is what the screw goes through to puncture the CO2. So just press that in, it should sort of click. And the next thing we're going to do now is to rethread this pin through the spring. But the best way to do that, these might fall out when you tilt these up, but the best way to do that is get the spring. You'll see a little channel. Press it into the channel and push the pin through the spring. You'll see a little hole, like a little loop in the spring, and then you can just do that, push it in. That's what she said. And now we can basically put the whole thing together. So you've got your nut at the bottom, valve at the top, and the round retainer. Hold it together because things tend to move around. So what we want to do now is try and get the two halves together. It is a bit fiddly. What can happen sometimes is the spring can sort of pop out. So try and keep the spring in the little groove that's there, because you don't want it to be bouncing around. Next thing we want to do now that we've pushed these together is get your little whatever it's called, the pin end, trigger, guard thingy, whatever. Push it into place. This is going to retain the pin within the thing. Okay, good. So we're almost there now, actually, not far off. So now we need this black thing. I don't know what it's called. It's probably in the manual. Push that up. Looks good. Now you need to decide, are you going to be firing first strike rounds or round balls? If you're firing round paintballs, just use the normal spring, the grey spring. If you're going to be firing first strike rounds or any sort of other plastic rounds or PVC rounds, use the red spring because it needs the extra force. So I'm using practice rounds at the moment because all the paintball fields are closed, so I'm just shooting target at the moment, so I'm going to use the tougher spring. Also, if you want to use the mag extender, it is compatible with this one. However, you'll need to use the slider thingy that comes with the mag extender. All you do is, just like you do with the normal magazine, it just clips in like that. Same as the other one, and I've tested it, it works fine. And then you just put a slider in the bottom, and obviously takes the larger spring. Okay, so stop waffling and put all this back together. So slide goes in, then goes the spring, Then take this little plate thingy and slide it in like so. Sorry if you can't see. Now that should hold fairly well. We're going to put all the bolts in next, so I usually put the little one in first, just so it's holding the spring at the top, so you can hand tighten it and then use the larger Allen key to tighten it up. Sorry if this video is dragging on a bit, but I thought I'd show you all of the steps just in case. So don't tighten them too hard, just finger tighten, and then when you feel that there's a bit of resistance, fair bit of resistance, just stop. Doesn't need to be super tight. This larger screw goes through the center, so some of these holes might be a little bit tight because of the 3D printing process, but you just screw them through. They won't be that tight, but they might not slide as freely as they do through the stock magazine, so you'll need to just cut the threads through by screwing it in with the Allen key. So it's almost there, so we'll place the one of the larger nuts in that hole. They can be a bit of a pain to drop down. There we go. You can just hold it in with one finger, push the nut down so that it mates with the screw. There we go. And the smaller one goes in the there's an extra, you'll notice there is an extra channel for an M3 bolt and a nut in the front. I don't think it's going to be needed, but it's there, you know, if you wanna use it. With my early designs, I thought that it was going to be needed to keep everything held together, but I don't think it is. So in future revisions, that will be removed. So get these nuts in, pain in the backside to get them straight. One thing you can do, if they won't go in straight because they're in these tiny little holes, you can thread a nut on the end of a screw and you can use it to push it in, like so. And when it's pushed in like that, you can remove the screw and then screw in that side. Okay, we're almost there. Oops. I'll make sure as well that you probably a good idea to label these magazines so you remember which springs they're in them, because it's quite difficult to see straight away, and I've accidentally shot paintballs through a first strike one and they've just exploded within the magazine, so just be aware of that. So the last nut is going in now. Pain in the ass to get in. There we go. Hold it in. And again, you want these to be just finger tight. As much, I would say, as much pressure as you can put with, say, 2 fingers on an Allen key. That should be the max. You don't want to be really cranking them down, because it could end up splitting the plastic, or more than likely it'll just deform the plastic, and then it's a bit of a pain to then reassemble them when you take them apart. So finger tightness is all you need. All you were doing is basically clamping things together. There's no structure that's needed for the front. So okay, this magazine's now finished. The last thing to do is to put this bolt in. This video has definitely been dragging on longer than it needs to, but there we go. So thread in the bolt just like you normally would. It will stick out through the bottom a bit more than you probably were used to, just because obviously the CO2 cartridge is longer. So let's get ready to gas this up, and then I'll show you it firing around. So to gas it up, I'm going to use a 12 gram. So here's the comparison in the sizes: 12 gram, 8 gram. The advantage of the 12 gram is you can easily get 2 full mags of these with one 12 gram if you've got the velocity set right. And if in countries where you're allowed to, if you're using this for self-defense, 12 gram will give you a full mag full of these kind of rounds. With the 8 gram, you're only going to get about 5 powerful shots, and then the 6 just basically falls out the barrel. And they're cheaper, much cheaper for some unknown reason. So okay, 12 gram, slap it in. You might need to do that. And just tighten it just so you feel a little bit of resistance, not too much. So let's put a round in there. I don't want to fire those heavy hitting rounds. So actually I'm going to take a round out of my 8.1 magazine PVC round. There we go. And we're going to fire it. So just pop it in the thing, and you might want to just check that this flows freely. It should, it should be fine. Okay, so we take our marker and we'll put it in. Now, it might be a little bit tight going in at first, just because of the tolerances of the printer, and each marker might be slightly different. So make sure when you place it in, you push it in firmly so that the magazine catch hits. So if we just do like this, if it doesn't catch straight away, see it's flat, just push the other side and it'll clip through. Once you've done that a few times, it'll sort of bed in and the magazine will just clip in as soon as you push it in. So what I'm going to do now is to test fire this. So what you do is you gas it up, so put the safety on, for God's sake, and get it where it's almost ready to be gassed up. Turn it and then just gas it up. There we go, gassed up, and we can fire. Okay, we're at my makeshift target range. So we've got our magazine in the gun. I've zoomed in so you can see the target. Not that you're going to see much happening to it. So we put our laser on so we can aim and fire. And laser back off, safety on. And there we go. There's the 12 gram magazine for you, all it working. I'll be updating the stock on my store soon. So thanks for watching.